Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crochet Credits with my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today I'm going to show you how to steam your project. So let's talk a little bit about steaming, why you would want to do it, and show you exactly how it's done. So over the years I've heard about people blocking their crochet projects, and I'm like, well, yeah. And you know, it seems like it makes sense, but I've never really had to do it because I do afghans and scarves and all that jazz. The problem is that when you end up with the scarf with tassels, or sometimes you throw your project down for quite some time, it could be packed in a box. When you pull it back out, it has like this really crumpled shape to it. And so I had a clue in at one of the professional photo shoots that Yarn Inspirations invited me to, and I was so amazed by what the stylist was doing. Let me tell you what she was doing, because I was like, wow. So the stylist, she was an amazing woman, but what she was doing, she was pulling the garments out of the box and then positioning for the models and etc. But as she was pulling them out, she had like a mannequin form, and she was taking each of the projects, even afghans, and actually applying some steam. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So I asked her, why is she doing that? And she says, well, it gives it a better look for photography, but it also shapes to the person better when it's actually steamed. And I said, well, why are you doing that with the afghans? She goes, the afghans actually look so much better after steaming. And she goes, just feel it, it's softer. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. So I was thinking to myself, that is really, really neat. And so I got thinking about the process of how yarn was made, and I realized that really when you're steaming your project after it's done, you're completely changing the texture in the sense of the way that the fibers are operating. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So when manufacturers like Yarn Inspirations comes along and they ball up the yarn, they ball it in a way that it looks really quite fabulous for the shelf. But there's kind of a little problem with it, because the fact is that they all do it because it's all about the presentation of the ball. So when they go to steam this, the yarn is actually straight. So when it's steamed, it's actually done in that format. The problem with us crocheters and knitters is that once we make a project, we are changing the format of the yarn from being straight into all of the stitch work. Therefore, it can behave very differently once you do it. Now, for many of us, we don't really care, right? But for some things like clothing, scarves, and other things like even afghans, it makes a difference after you steam it. So why would that be? Well, it all comes down to being steamed. So you never, ever apply an iron to a finished crochet project, or even to the ball itself. Most of the yarns that we use today in North America are poly-based or plastic-based. So if you heat it up with an iron, you're gonna melt it. So the secret is to apply steam in order to make it work. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, that's kind of interesting. Why would you wanna do that? The steam, when it's actually being made, puffs up this yarn to make it into a yarn ball, but after you apply the steam, when the project is done, you're causing the fibers to open up and take a really big deep breath, and when it comes back down, the fibers settle back, but the fibers realize that they're actually in a stitch, and it will actually take the shape so much better. So there's certain things that you really would want to do for steaming for these kind of items. That includes tassels and anything like this. So I just pulled this out of the box. You know what, it's looking okay. But you know what, I know that a bit of steam on this project, this is Karen Karen Cupcakes, and I know that if I apply steam with this, I can get this project to relax much more, and steam has never been applied to this at all. So my friend Colleen made this as a sample. We have this particular scarf on the Crochet Crowd for for a pattern. So let's show you exactly what I'm going to do for steaming. Okay, so now that my steam gun is ready, you can see the steam just like you see here, and when I release it, it still steams a little bit, so I'm actually very conscious. It is pretty hot, so you don't want to get yourself too close to it. I've actually retired my iron completely and just using the steamer for all my clothing now. I just love it, and the fact is that I'm not scared of burning myself. So all I'm just going to do is that I'm going to apply steam to the project, and I'm just going to kind of gently tug on it, and I'm going to get the areas that I think are the problem. So I think yourself is that while it's really not making a difference, it's making an amazing difference. It really can change the softness of the project as well, because you're applying what the manufacturers are applying, which is steam. So when you go into a yarn factory, it is so hot, and it's just because of the steam that is doing it. So once you apply your steam, it looks so amazing once you do it. So this is a neat way of doing it. So it's causing the fibers to open up and relax and taking the shape of the stitch that I'm applying here. I'm not scared to push the steamer right to the project itself and let that steam really get in there. And I don't obviously want this thing to be wet because the steam will just open up the fibers and give it a reason to relax. So you can see on the one side it's still curled up here. So if we can apply some steam there, get it to relax out, it's just absolutely amazing. So I learned this out of photo shoot. I'm like, you know, sometimes we finish a project when it comes to all the stuff that we see online, and then it just doesn't look the same. The stitch works the same, the size is the same. The secret is the steam, really, to get it to take it the shape that it's supposed to. So you can use these kind of ideas. I could have blocked my mandalas using the steam, but I didn't mind doing the wet damping method either. And again, I don't want that steam to hit my hands, so I'm kind of being conscientious of it. But you can see by applying the steam, I'm getting the bottom here to relax. So that curl that was at the bottom was naturally coming out of the project like that. Now, some people could argue that you could throw it in the washing machine. I'm not a fan of throwing stuff in the washing machine if I don't have to, just because A, I'm lazy, and B, I'm lazy. So I really like the steam idea, so it can be really cool. So let me show you one more example of applying steam to your projects. So where I use steam the most is actually on tassels or fringe, anything like this. And so it's actually, I think it might have already been done once, but I don't even know if we've written a pattern for this. But in order to get these to look their absolute best, steaming them causes them to relax and then fall naturally. So it's actually a pretty neat idea. So I'm kind of just steaming it first, and then I'm going to use my hands, and this is getting quite warm. So I'm going to use my hands, just give it a good, just wrinkle, just like give it a good shake. Let that steam really get in there, and then turn over the project and do the other side. So look at the difference now of how it started, if you look at both sides. So look at this side, see, beautiful. This side, it's still okay, but it's not as pretty as it could be. So applying a bit of steam to it can actually get these things to relax down and take the nice shape that you see that the models are wearing. Don't ever think on TV or anything that things naturally come out of a box and it looks beautiful. There's a reason why stylists get hired for photo shoots and for TV shoots or TV movies and all that jazz, is that they're taking care of all the stuff that you would think, you know, the model looks naturally pretty. She probably could. But it helps to actually do the back end of being able to do things like this to make her outfit look the absolute best that it could be. So see, it's just a natural difference of being what it was to what it is now. So this is how you would steam your project if you would like to do that, and you're gonna do this with afghans and stuff. You just gotta let it, now it's a little bit damp, not crazy damp, but just wanna let it dry, and just the drying formation will cause the stitch work to relax, and it'll be good. So that's it for today. Have a great day. We'll see you again. We'll see you. Bye.